or not through the microphone, but let's record this. Now, so your question was, have I ever heard "Go Back to Your Country" from a grandma or something? Oh. The truth of the matter is, I've never heard that from anybody, but I've seen it in some people's faces. Like they're kind of like, "Why are you here? Why don't you go back?" And I've seen hurtful things in people's faces, but they rarely say anything, and even if they did, it would be in a different language usually. So, basically, you know how people react to pigeons here?
No.
Like the Pidgeotto reaction. People react to a pigeon, they see a pigeon, and they're like, "Oh God!" Oh.
Yeah.
In particular, the girls get really scared of pigeons. I guess they think that like it's gonna attack them or drop fleas on them or something like that.
Dirty.
Dirty pigeons. Well, sometimes I get that reaction, and it comes from usually that Pidgeotto reaction is like a gut reaction when I surprise somebody. It's like, "Oh, come jack me," like.
When Koreans see you,
Yeah,
their
like,
reaction is like, "Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Korean girls. It doesn't happen all the time. I promise you that. And oftentimes I get the opposite reaction where it's like, "Oh my goodness," in a really good way, in a really positive way. Like, what a beautiful man, right? But often enough, it's what this is a monster kind of looking ugly kind of thing, and that's the gut reaction. And then sometimes their intellect and their real vision takes over, and that gets reversed, and they kind of just chill. That goes away really, really fast, and then that's with like your normal college educated 20s girl or whatever. But sometimes with like someone who definitely like has never been to college and isn't very studied or learned it or whatever, you do get a little bit of that "you dirty thing" look that lasts a little bit longer, and that's usually an older man or an older woman who's giving you that look. Again, they're not saying anything, and if you said something to them, they probably would like smile and be nice to you, but it just looks like that at first because they haven't guarded their face and they have that kind of ignorance going on with themselves. So I don't blame them too much. It gets a little bit annoying sometimes because it's just annoying. Like, everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be beautiful and appreciated, right? Mm-hmm. But I will say also that that's very different from racism in America, where you have a party that has been monstrous towards people of color and towards black people especially, and then they have the nerve to look down on you as if you're inferior, when doing the things that they have historically done to black people is a sign of inferiority. It's inferior to be that inhumane to anything, any living creature. But the way that they were towards people, towards beautiful African people, is monstrous. And then for that person to look down on another person, or look down on some of the problems that they've caused for this whole class of people, and say you're lesser than, is not only ugly, it's hypocritical. And sometimes you get that from people who are well educated and should know better. And that's a totally different racism. Those are people who want you to die. And that's never the case here in Korea. Never the case. Korea, as far as I know, has never invaded another country and subjugated another people or lynched anyone. There's none of that here. So, and I think that you're some of the most ignorant. They just don't know. Like, if they had the opportunity to know, they would actually change their mind. This is an amazing culture where people actually do know how to change their mind and do something different, as proven by King Sejong. That legacy still lives, and I have faith in that. This country has a meteoric rise from poverty to wealth, and that is not by accident. People don't notice that Korean folks, when the IMF thing went down, like, it wasn't that long ago, the 80s or something. So the IMF crisis happened just like it happened with other countries, where the IMF was going to call back some debts or something that was going to be really ruinous, and basically the U.S. would end up owning Korea. The Korean government put a call out to Korean citizens to give gold.
Yeah.
and Koreans actually did something that you'd never have happen in America. I'm sorry, you just wouldn't. They gave their gold jewelry and different things um, to the government, and the government used that gold from ordinary citizens to pay the IMF debt down, and so that Koreans could maintain control of their country. You just aren't gonna like that is a built-in cultural thing that says, to some degree, we take care of our people. We take care of our nation, you know. And so anyway, and that requires a great change. And so that's all I'm saying is that even for the ones who do give me the Paducah response, I have faith that they're not like the American races who can't change because they refuse the possibility of change. They just simply don't know. That's it.
Let's